Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see all of you here today. Before I discuss the ceasefire with Iran, I have a quick update from the First Lady of the United States. Yesterday marked the very first conviction under the Take It Down Act, landmark legislation that First Lady Melania Trump played an instrumental role in getting passed, that protects victims from non-consensual AI-generated sexually explicit images, cyber stalking, and threats of violence. This is a huge achievement for the First Lady, and I know the President is very proud of his wife's efforts in getting this critical legislation passed to protect America's youth. So we thank the First Lady for her efforts, and we hope that others will report on this historic conviction yesterday. With respect to the 2-week ceasefire announced by President Trump last night, this is a victory for the United States of America that the President and our incredible military made happen. From the very beginning of Operation Epic Fury, President Trump stated this would be a 4 to 6 week military operation to dismantle the military threat posed by the radical Islamic Iranian regime. Thanks to the unbelievable capabilities of America's war fighters, the United States has achieved and exceeded those core military objectives in just 38 days. The U.S. military destroyed Iran's defense industrial base, crushing the regime's ability to manufacture weapons that they and their proxies use to maim and kill Americans and terrorize the world. Iran's ability to build and stockpile ballistic missiles and long-range drones has also been set back by years compared to where it was 6 weeks ago prior to the launch of Operation Epic Fury. We destroyed the vast majority of Iran's ballistic missiles, launcher vehicles, and long-range attack drones through more than 450 strikes on ballistic missiles and approximately 800 strikes on Iran's drone launching units and storage facilities. In total, more than 13,000 targets across Iran were struck. Again, this is in the matter of just 38 days. Meanwhile, the Iranian Navy was completely annihilated. The United States destroyed more than 150 naval vessels in total, including 16 entire classes of Iranian warships. Despite once being the largest undersea force in the Middle East, Iran now has 0 submarine vessels. 97% of Iran's once massive inventory of more than 5,000 naval mines has also been targeted and destroyed. Iran's air forces are functionally and operationally irrelevant at this point, after the United States maintained total air dominance over their country for weeks on end. To underscore the significance of this, before Operation Epic Fury, the Iranian Air Force would fly between 30 to 100 flights per day. Today, that number is 0. Iran's ability to fund and support its terrorist proxies has been greatly reduced. At this point, Iran can no longer distribute weapons to its proxies in the region. And most importantly, Iran will not be able to acquire nuclear weapons. Prior to the start of this successful operation, Iran was aggressively expanding its short-range ballistic missile arsenal. Through these weapons and its navy, Iran was attempting to build a military buildup around their country that would pose an imminent and existential threat to the United States military assets in the Middle East, our allies in the region, and ultimately the free world. Iran was pursuing this dangerous and aggressive strategy for one reason: to hold the entire world hostage to its terrorist ambitions. The Iranians aim to use their expanded military capabilities as a shield around their country to continue achieving their ultimate goal internally, building nuclear bombs. But their murderous and evil plans have been blown up, quite literally and figuratively, along with their military, their nuclear program, and most of their senior leadership, including the former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Their command and control structures were also massively disrupted after being struck more than 2,000 times. Many of their remaining leaders are paralyzed in fear and no longer enjoy the freedom to move around their country freely and meet openly. Thanks to the unmatched excellence of our warriors at the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, the world has just witnessed a historically swift and successful military triumph. President Trump started Operation Epic Fury with strategic military objectives, and the United States has clearly achieved them. As we mark this progress, we also remember and honor the 13 American heroes who laid down their lives in this noble effort. I know President Trump and our grateful nation honors their ultimate sacrifice, and we will never forget them. May God bless their families. The valiant efforts of all of our incredible service members created maximum leverage for the President of the United States, allowing he and his leadership team to engage in tough negotiations over the past couple of weeks that have now created an opening for a diplomatic solution and long-term peace in the Middle East. The President's maximum pressure and the leverage created by the success of Operation Epic Fury led to the Iranian regime asking for and ultimately agreeing to a ceasefire proposal with the United States. Iran could no longer tolerate being bombed or taking the gamble of what was to come following President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline last night. Iran has agreed to open the Strait of Hormuz, and as the President said, we have received a proposal from the Iranians that has been determined to be a workable basis on which to negotiate. I've seen a lot of inaccurate coverage today from the media about these negotiations and these plans already. So let me be clear and correct the record. The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage by President Trump and his negotiating team. Many outlets in this room have falsely reported on that plan as being acceptable to the United States, and that is false. With the President's deadline fast approaching and the United States military completely decimating Iran with each passing hour, the regime acknowledged reality to the negotiating team. They put forward a more reasonable and entirely different and condensed plan to the President and his team. President Trump and the team determined the new modified plan was a workable basis on which to negotiate and to align it with our own 15-point proposal. The President's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. The President will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, and he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks, so long as the Strait of Hormuz remains open with no limitations or delays. These extraordinarily sensitive and complex negotiations will take place behind closed doors over the course of the next 2 weeks. I would strongly advise the media against running with narratives that have no basis in fact. What Iran says publicly or feeds to all of you in the press is much different than what they communicate to the United States, the President, and his team privately. Never underestimate President Trump's ability to successfully advance America's interests and broker peace. President Trump has a proven track record of achieving good deals on behalf of the United States and the American people, and he will only accept one that puts America first.
Patriots, I'm at Restored Republic via a GCR update for Wednesday, April the 8th, 2026, compiled by Judy Byington. Nesara announcement imminent. Official start of new system. End of old world structure. John F. Kennedy Jr. on Telegram. President Trump has activated Operation Liberty Shield, the largest military liberation campaign in modern history. Over 20,000 elite forces, including Navy SEALs, Delta units, Marines, and international white hats, have executed raids against the elite trafficking network buried deep inside underground tunnel dumps, biotech labs, and government installations across the globe. Judy notes, Save the Children. On Saturday, June 21st, 2025, President Trump activated Operation Liberty Shield, the largest military liberation campaign in modern history. Over 20,000 elite forces, including Navy SEALs, Delta units, Marines, and international white hats, executed raids against the elite international child sex trafficking network buried deep inside underground tunnel dams, biotech labs, and government installations across the globe. What was such an extensive and expensive network of tunnels used for? The kidnapping, torture, rape, and human sacrifice of children to honor Satan in return for his false promises of honor, power, and riches. That was verified a year later on Monday, April 6, 2026, when the Clinton estate was raided by Trump's military special forces. Beneath the property, they found a 7-mile high-speed rail dumb tunnel system that ran straight to Washington, D.C. and under the Oval Office of the White House. Live cameras were still feeding the security system. There were children's cages, ritual chambers, and blood altars with the presidential seals stamped on them. Evidently, the tunnels were built during the Clinton White House years. Hillary ran the entire dumb network from her residence while she was serving as the nation's First Lady and again as Secretary of State during the Obama years. These child trafficking tunnel systems were rampant around the world. They housed the Vatican's Ninth Circle Satanic Cult's child trafficking ring. The global child trafficking rail network funded ties to defense contractors and NATO. The military has now confirmed the existence of the vast, high-speed, subterranean rail network used for trafficking, built during the Cold War under continuity of government operations. This network was never shut down. It was privatized and handed to globalist handlers. These tunnels connect Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Denver, Rome, Tel Aviv, Geneva, and even led to Antarctic strongholds. The infrastructure was equipped with EMF shielding, AI routing systems, and drone surveillance. Beneath Vatican City, deep below the surface, a massive underground tunnel system stretched in a near direct line toward Jerusalem. The tunnel was said to span roughly 1,500 miles, cutting beneath both land and sea, forming a concealed passage between two of the world's most historically significant locations. In the first section, extending about 150 miles from Vatican City, it was alleged that vast reserves of gold were discovered, stacked in towering formations reaching up to 13 levels high. The scale described was immense. It was claimed that 650 plane loads were required to transport this gold out of the tunnel system, with shipments reportedly moved to Fort Knox and other secure locations. On April 30th, 2020, inside the Vatican catacombs, operators found vaults with ceremonial tools, blood-soaked robes, and encrypted ledgers, listing payments tied to child rituals. European royals, Hollywood figures, and WEF elites were all named. The Vatican's human trafficking was housed in sophisticated underground tunnels beneath the Vatican, Washington, D.C., Ukraine, and Palestine, and then stretched for thousands of miles under seas and continents across the globe. The tunnels were connected to every major city on Earth, even lay beneath Capitol Hill and the White House, and were equipped with rail systems, living quarters, and illegal bioweapon labs. Military sources confirm a subterranean EMF-shielded rail system connecting D.C., L.A., Denver, Geneva, Rome, and Antarctica. There were at least 1,400 of these DUMs worldwide, 131 in the U.S. At least 2 underground bases were being built per year in the U.S. at the moment. The average depth of the bases were 4¼ miles underground, some shallower and some deeper. There were many of these bases worldwide, but here was a small list. Dulce in New Mexico, Brecon Beacons in Wales, Los Alamos in Mexico, Pine Gap in Australia, the Snowy Mountains in Australia, Nyala Range in Africa, west of Kindu in Africa next to the Libyan border in Egypt, Mount Blanc in Switzerland, Narvik in Scandinavia, Gotland Island in Sweden, and many other places, including California, which was said to have the most dumb tunnels in the U.S. Are you surprised by that? Because I'm not. DARPA, BlackRock, and NGO-run biotech labs, and the same defense contractors building weapons, Raytheon, Lockheed, Boeing, were also building trafficking routes beneath our feet. in the underground tunnels. Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Gates funneled crypto to child procurement operations masked as educational grants into AI research. Ethereum-based contracts linked to live auctions on the dark web were traced to Clinton Foundation shells, Gavi networks, and WEF biotech fronts. Since at least the end of World War II, the extensive worldwide network of dumb underground tunnels used for child sex trafficking have been financed, built, and run by members of the Illuminati deep state cabal using taxpayer dollars funneled through a CIA black budget. Trump's global military alliance has been directing special forces from 22 nations to put an end to child trafficking in these dumb tunnels, beginning in October 2019 and ongoing even today. The alliance has held coordinated raids on the massive network of tunnels and bioweapon labs across the world to rescue child victims. A secret U.S. military operation trained for over a year on how to rescue what became millions of horrifically abused children from the extensive network of underground dump tunnels that ran across U.S., Canada, Mexico, South America, and then across the world. The first operation centered beneath major cities in New York, California, Florida, Washington, D.C., and Disney World in Florida. The vast child rescue missions across the globe was headed by President Trump, the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, U.S. Special Forces and Marines in cooperation with Interpol and various nations. Special military forces. They included arrests of pedophile perpetrators and destruction of the underground tunnels and bases through bombs that caused minor earthquakes. And if you've watched Gene Decode, he's taught us about looking at earthquake maps, and when you see 10 kilometers in depth of an earthquake, that's usually an indication that a tunnel is being blown up, because that's about the depth that they all are, about 10 kilometers and 6.1 miles, I think. One male survivor of the MI6 CIA mind control project, Monarch, described in the Illuminati Formula by Fritz Springmeier, the China Lake Naval Base at Ridgecrest in the California desert. This anonymous man says batches of children numbering 1, 2, and 3,000 were kept in cages piled up to the ceiling of large hangars. He says these cages are called woodpecker grids. They electrocute them. That's part of the trauma-based mind control, and they do it at such an early age. Like, some of them are babies. I mean, it's just awful. On Wednesday, October 16, 2019, an unbelievable 2,100 children being held in cages in underground tunnels at the California China Lake Military Facility in California were rescued by 10,000 Navy SEALs and U.S. Marines. The children and teens were said to have been sexually abused, tortured, and killed to collect their adrenaline. By March 30th, 2020, the hospital ships USNS Comfort and USNS Mercy had been deployed to New York and Los Angeles. Central Park in New York City had a field hospital erected overnight. Nurses and doctors confessed they were disoriented, tortured, abused, and malnourished children brought up from the tunnels beneath New York and LA. Many had never seen sunlight. At that time, there were a few pictures that came out of inside those tents that were at Central Park, and you could see like little hands, and you could tell that there were children they were in those beds that had been rescued, boxes of Pampers and juice boxes, things like that. At the same time as the raids, earthquakes were reported in areas with no seismic history. 2.5 to 4.0 magnitude tremors in Virginia, New York, Colorado, and beneath the White House itself. So-called earthquakes were said to be the alliance destroying the tunnels. Nevada facility raid confirmed over 1,200 children freed from dumb network linked to Area 51. Pedophile task force teams stormed a massive deep underground military base dumb beneath Nevada, camouflaged as a decommissioned mining site. Surveillance footage confirms over 1,200 children were held in cages, many subjected to MK Ultra reprogramming, organ extraction, and genetic modification procedures. What makes this site even more disturbing is its direct tunnel access to Area 51. On April 28th, Navy SEALs stormed a Nevada dump facility masked as a mining site, linked directly to Area 51. They rescued 1,200 children found in cages subjected to trauma programs, organ harvesting, and DNA manipulation. See Thursday 9th, 2026 update for part 2 of the child sex trafficking underground tunnel system. Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, the Nesara announcement was imminent. The official start of the new system and end of the old world structure. John F. Kennedy Jr. on Telegram. Worldwide EBS announcements will follow. All screens, all channels will air full disclosure in sequence documentaries to awaken the masses. A temporary global lockdown window will secure the broadcast phase where truth will be delivered without interruption. The quantum financial system is already active. Global trust funds and seized cabal assets have been moved into quantum ledgers for return to the people. Central banks have been migrated. ISO 20022 is live. All transactions are traceable. Corruption has no place to hide. Tuesday, April 7th, prepare for a 10 to 12 day global lockdown under martial law. Beginning very soon, military to distribute provisions where needed. Trump QFS Center, ISO 20022 on Telegram. Patriots around the world are on high alert as the White Hats prepare for a 10 to 12 day global lockdown under martial law beginning very soon in April 2026. This coordinated global military alliance operation launches the final international crackdown on child sex trafficking and the Satan-worshipping deep state cabal that has controlled humanity for centuries. Military forces stand ready to distribute food, water, and essential provisions where needed as air and rail travel suspends, ensuring security during mass arrests of corrupt elites. President Trump has given the final approval for this historic strike, with the alliance already surging arrests of thousands of powerful figures involved in trafficking and corruption. Barack Obama and other key cabal members now face federal investigations and charges for child trafficking as the vast network tied to the Vatican royals and global leaders collapses. Special Forces rescues of American children from South American cartels highlight the commitment to leave no child behind, exposing underground horrors. A massive worldwide blackout precedes the emergency broadcast system activation, overriding all devices with undeniable truths. Revelations expose election fraud, elite pedophile rings, big pharma crimes, and satanic rituals performed in hidden tunnels. The quantum financial system activates, replacing the failing fiat empire with gold-backed Nesara laws, erasing all illegitimate debts, ending the IRS, and releasing prosperity funds directly to we the people. Under temporary martial law during the lockdown, special forces execute precise arrests of hiding billionaires and officials. The EBS broadcasts non-stop for days, delivering documentary disclosures that dismantle old systems of government, finance, education, and health. Starlink secures global communications, ensuring the Great Awakening reaches every patriot as the new republic rises. This is the storm QAnons have awaited, delivering justice for trafficked children and total victory over darkness. The Rothschilds, Clinton's Gates, an entire cabal panic as their empire crumbles with medbeds, activating to heal patriots, veterans, and rescued innocents. Stockpiles guarantee smooth transition with no hardship for those loyal to the plan. Borders strengthen, sovereignty returns, and a golden age of freedom, abundance, and advanced technologies dawns. The deep state falls completely as holographic evidence seals elite fates and tribunals. Patriots have fought the long battle and now claim the light as the quantum reality of peace and prosperity unfolds for all humanity. The time of the Great Awakening peaks with divine justice unfolding exactly as planned. Stay strong, warn loved ones, and embrace the new era where we the people triumph. God bless America and patriots worldwide in this monumental shift to true freedom and sovereignty. Global Currency Reset. Monday, April 6, 2026, the final phase of the Global Currency Reset has been activated. Tier 4B is now live and moving. Global banking hubs in Zurich, Reno, and Hong Kong have entered their final liquidity cycle. Insiders report notifications are rolling out right now. High-value transfers are clearing through the QFS, triggering full liquidity release across multiple tiers. Private banking channels confirm funds are already positioning, the final step before public rollout. Banks' screens are lighting up with rates. IQD $9.35, VND $5.89. Nesara connected on Telegram. Tuesday, April 7th, Bruce the Big Call. On Monday, the 6th, 2026, the global financial system was fully integrated, and individuals' accounts were mirrored into the system and were now live. We would be told how much gold the U.S. has between April 11th to the 15th, Saturday to Wednesday, in conjunction with the worth of the new U.S. notes. The conflict in Iran would not affect when Tier 4B would start exchanges. Two different sources reported different deadlines. One source said Tier 4B, us the Internet Group, would get notified to set redemption appointments within the next 3 to 5 days by Sunday. The other individuals gave us a timeline of 11th, 12th, 13th of April, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The Prime Minister of Iraq would be seated on Saturday, April 11th, 2026. We would be notified of the Prime Minister of Iraq on Monday, April 13th, 2026. U.S. economic structure. Wednesday, June 10, 2026 was the lock-in date for the new 50-state credit union banks. Based on gold asset-backed monies, the system prioritizes accessibility and local empowerment while minimizing systematic burden. Interest rates were between 0 and 3%, which dramatically reduced the cost of borrowing. It has an economic footprint of only 4% of GDP, suggesting a lighter systematic load. Has zero income and property taxes, emphasizing financial relief at the individual level, and enjoyed a foundation of direct ownership of we the people, reinforcing decentralization. Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. And here is the link. Breaking U.S. debt clock. Interest for good or evil, U.S. debt clock exposes two systems, two futures for America, AMG News. The present Federal Reserve System using the fiat U.S. dollar has been driven by scale, complexity, and cost, where the burden shifted increasingly toward the population, and with interest rates ranging from 6% to 24%, significantly increasing long-term debt exposure. It has an economic reach of up to 20% of GDP, indicating a heavier systematic footprint. It promoted income taxation between 10% and 37%, reinforcing continuous extraction. The banking cartel's centralized structure was associated with concentrated control. Since the gold asset-backed global currency reset activated on Monday, April the 6th, 63 major U.S. banks have collapsed under the Federal Reserve System, with over $517 billion lost. Mass arrests. Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, Fox News. Federal agents just delivered a major blow to the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, in a massive coordinated raid across Phoenix. Authorities took down a major stash house operation, seizing huge quantities of narcotics, weapons, and cash. 121 plus arrested. On Monday, April the 6th, the U.S. Army Special Forces raided over 200 Hollywood mansions, going inside homes of the biggest names in Hollywood. Luxury gates were smashed. Hidden basement elevators descended into personal dump tunnels that connected to the Mount Rushmore master map. They arrested the heart of the deep state. Guru Information and Intel. Tuesday, April 7th. Final phase begins. Final system collapsing as hidden battle escalates. Patriots around the world are witnessing the final phase of the Great Awakening as the financial system edges toward total collapse amid an escalating hidden war. Gene Decode, the veteran U.S. Navy submarine expert with extraordinary remote viewing abilities, has delivered powerful intel that is electrifying QAnons and truth seekers everywhere. This dedicated truth investigator explained how Zionist forces separate from biblical Hebrews, originated from ancient bloodlines tied to the Rothschilds and black nobility elites. These entities have manipulated events for centuries to establish their one world order through engineered conflicts and Hegelian dialects. Israel operates effectively as America's 51st state in the grand scheme. Current Middle East developments are part of a desperate setup for broader global conflict, aiming to pit civilizations against each other. Yet the White Hats Alliance has masterfully countered, exposing the off-world origins of these dark forces from the Scion system and their soul-hacking technologies. The push for gas fields and new canals reveals their greed, but the light is prevailing. BRICS nations are accelerating de-dollarization with gold-backed currencies, crushing the cabal's financial empire. No new fiat currency has been printed since 2017, and leaders worldwide are dismantling central banks. The quantum financial system is poised to bring true prosperity and freedom from debt slavery. Underground battles continue fiercely, with targeted earthquakes marking dumb clean-outs and the rescue of countless trafficked souls. From the Middle East borders to Asian networks, the alliance is destroying child trafficking operations and satanic strongholds. Also, it's important that we recognize what the light beings and the Venusians and Commander Thor and what they're doing in the very, very deep, ancient tunnels. These are thousands of years old, and they are hunting down evil, all kinds of evil, but a lot of them are reptilians, and rescuing children. So we appreciate what they're doing as well. In America, the deep state ramps up medical tyranny with tyrannical rules allowing home invasions and forced quarantines. This blatant declaration of war on the people will ignite massive peaceful resistance and civil disobedience. The White Hats ensure it awakens the masses without full kinetic chaos. Trump's strategic trials will unleash classified evidence of widespread election fraud and deep state crimes, serving as the ultimate revelation. The emergency broadcast system awaits to broadcast the truth globally. Spiritually, this is humanity's defining moment. Reject false divisions, stand for the Creator, and envision the new golden age. Suppressed free energy technologies will return. The planet heals, and victory over these invaders is at hand. Patriots, the cabal is in its death throes. The financial collapse signals their end. Stay strong, united, and ready for liberation. The alliance plan is unfolding perfectly, and the best is yet to come.
Going from a corporate government to a constitutional republic. They are completely different beasts, different animals. If we move everything to a local level, which is where it was designed and meant to be, keeping it in the hands of the people, then we don't need the bureaucracy. We don't need it at all. But again, ladies and gentlemen, that these governments we have, they were supposed to service the people. They were supposed to be there to assist the people, to protect the people, to protect their rights, to protect the borders of each country. Not to become the masters. To make sure that doesn't happen again, that's on us. That's on we the people. To make sure we have a government that protects and is of service to us. We don't become its slaves. If you empower yourself, you empower your children. If you educate yourself on how all things work, if you educate the children on how all things work, this doesn't happen again. You put the structure in place so it doesn't happen again. And we just got to make sure it happens. We have to call the shots. There is no, well, that's not possible. That's all bullshit. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Save the children. Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, Mel Gibson just released a video of Bill and Hillary Clinton engaging in rituals with the Haitian cannibal gang leader named Barbecue. Documents proving Bill Clinton stole $14 billion from Haiti and used some of them to finance the Haitian cannibalism gang that is on the loose in Haiti, eating children on the streets. The emergency broadcast system on Telegram. Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, Child Protective Services Accountability. And there's a link to that article. Tuesday, April 7th, Judy Byington bombshell report. European royals killing naked children for fun at human hunting parties. Child sacrifice and trafficking in Holland. AMG News.
think we know as of WED, the 8th of April, 2026. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Did they really think we would believe there was another mission to the moon? It's all been faked so NASA could continue to launder millions of U.S. taxpayer monies into their pockets. Post from Starkey Farmstead, YouTube. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Former Kentucky clerk says illegal aliens are being sold. $200 driver's licenses all throughout the state. The undocumented workers would come into the office in groups. I found out it may have been going on for a couple of years before it was found out. A key to pulling off this scheme was making sure the required Homeland Security screening was never run. She says this happens every day. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Pam Bondi was fired. In part, because President Trump believed she had tipped off Eric Swalwell, according to the Daily Mail. Trump reportedly believes Bondi had tipped off Swalwell about the FBI's effort to share investigative documents about his relationship with an alleged Chinese spy. The FBI was preparing a cache of documents on Swalwell's relationship with Christine Feng, the Daily Mail reports. She's intervening in those matters. The White House wasn't pleased she was intervening, due to her personal friendship with Swalwell, a source told the Daily Mail. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. On July 4th, 1917, Nikola Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island, New York, was demolished by the federal government when they found out he was planning to give the world free energy as a gift. It was an early experimental wireless transmission station designed and built in 1901 to 1902. They censored Tesla using the newspapers they controlled. Nikola Tesla was one of the most important inventors of all the time, and they never taught you about him in schools, and this is solely because they don't want you digging about free energy. Nesara on Telegram. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Obama diverted $400 million from Iran's pallets of cash through the Dubai embassy to Italian operatives and Merrill Lynch in Geneva to fuel the stolen 2020 election, which was exposed, under oath, by Maria Zack. In return, Leonardo Spa officials used military satellites and CIA tools like Hammer and Scorecard to hack U.S. voting machines, flipping Trump votes to Biden along with other fraudulent methods, machines, mail-in ballots, and remote access. China coordinated the operation with tech and bribes. The CIA oversaw the stolen 2020 election, and the FBI covered it up, all to install Biden as a puppet to the cabal and foreign powers. This global election fraud cartel is the largest threat to American democracy and the world. Tuesday the 7th of April 2026. Shocker from FBI Director Kash Patel was that deep state operative Erica Kirk, widow of TPUSA founder Charlie Kirk, has been taken to federal court on alleged criminal ties to Jeffrey Epstein, Israeli Mossad and child trafficking. Tuesday the 7th of April 2026. Breaking overnight intel drop. Trump's ultimatum shakes the world. Iran on the brink. Oil explodes. Global order at stake intel drop. April 7th, 2026. AMG-news.com. American Media Group. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Breaking military intel. Bleeding, alone, hunted, U.S. colonel, survives the impossible in Iran. A story that defies logic and redefines survival video. AMG.news.com. American Media Group. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Bombshell alert. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent orders massive bank audits by IRS and $18 billion Minnesota welfare laundering. Scandal video. AMG-news.com. American Media Group. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Breaking. The New World Order. U.S. moves to withdraw 100,000 troops from Europe and halt trillions in defense. Spending video. AMG-news.com. American Media Group. Tuesday the 7th of April, 2026. Breaking medical news. Cancer gone. The shocking story they never wanted to hear. Must-see video? AMGnews.com. American Media Group.
I'm currently at Commander Thor's Telegram channel, Valiant Thor 369. I wanted to remind everyone to please visit. He has lots of information going way back that he has posted. Now, recently, we know that the Artemis rocket had gone up to the moon and circled around the dark side of the moon. A lot of people are saying that that was CGI and faked and blah, 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 like they always do when it comes to NASA. I asked Commander Thor about that particular operation. He said it was real, not CGI. They did go to the moon and circle around the dark side. And I'm here currently at September 28th, 2024, where Commander Thor has some wonderful pictures and some explanations about the Apollo 20, which was a secret mission to the moon, and what they found there. So would be interesting if you are interested to read about some of the things they found. Martian, petrified Martian mothership, things like that. Fascinating. But yes, we do have a base on the moon. We even have prisoners up there. There's a Gitmo up there. And the Nazis were up there. I mean, there's a whole history of the secret space program being on the moon. So, yes, we did. NASA does go to the moon, can go to the moon. NASA did go, it was not CGI. If you read about the secret space program and everything, you'll know we are in space. We are already up there.
And their firsthand descriptions of what the lunar surface looks like has broken the internet. They say that the moon isn't white or gray, but in fact it is brown and green, and that it has strange geometric shapes on it that they couldn't quite explain. It certainly doesn't look like this from Earth, but it turns out that the moon is not gray after all, that it's actually, well, this color. And what is this material? I'm not exactly sure. What is this? What is the moon made of exactly? What about the geometric shapes on the moon? And this is the far side of the moon. Of course, we never get to see it from Earth. You have to physically go up and inspect it with either a machine or in a space capsule, or hopefully someday exploring it ourselves. Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. Artemis 2 reports strange patterns on the moon's surface as NASA crew conducts historic flyby. People are already calling it the secret Nazi moon base, saying that this is, obviously what they saw, and, well, the secrets will now be revealed. It's real, right? This is strange. What? Oh, look, up next. I'm nervous. Oh, boy. It's the Hive. Artemis needs to do an update video so that we can see the moon. After all these years, the entire mission was to prepare us for the alien bases that they already have on the moon.
Marco Rubio with another truth bomb.
I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States, and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country.
It's happening in the world right now, and just look at Iran, where, according to mainstream media, the United States is bombing the hell out of it. And the fact is they're bombing the hell out of what they put there. Because all of the terrorist cells that are in Iran are nothing to do with the Iranian people. They were created by the Bushes, the Obamas, and the Clintons under the control of Israel. Let's get it right. So what's being bombed there right now is the dismantling of the corrupt system that was put in by the US and Israel. It's not Iran. It's not the people of Iran. The people of Iran are amazing people. And I've been there. It's a beautiful country full of beautiful people, where Christians and Muslims have lived side by side for hundreds, if not thousands of years. They've lived in peace. They get on very well together until the Zionists showed up and then wanted to divide them and wanted to steal their country, allegedly, and wanted to steal other countries around there. That's why they created 25, 30, 40 years ago the term anti-Semitism. Allegedly. It was created so that it filtered into our psyche that if you said anything against them, you became an anti-Semite. Well, the fact of the matter is that Semitism is a language that's spoken in that part of the world. Most of the people who speak the Semitic language are actually Muslim and not what they claim the world to know, because they control, or they did control, the media. They control the narrative. They're losing control of that right now, and we're seeing the results of that. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everyone. My first story of the day is France has officially withdrawn all its gold reserves from the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. Macron silently sold 129 tons of French gold stored in New York and bought it at an equivalent amount of gold in Europe. France is preparing for the end of the petrodollar. Well, wasn't that smart thinking, Charlie?
It certainly was, but it also confirms to me that what we're doing is watching a movie, because I know that this happened 3.5, 4 years ago. And now it's playing out for the public to see, and France is absolutely right in getting rid of or removing their gold from New York. And without being too frivolous, there is an awful lot of gold that is held in the Bank of England that does not belong to England. It belongs to other people, but it's in the custody of the Bank of England, a bit like the French gold that was in the custody of the Federal Reserve. It's not their gold, it's not their silver, it belongs to the country that placed it there for security reasons. And people are starting to realize now that you need to be a little bit more wise. I've said right from day one, if you buy gold or silver, do not keep it within the banking system. Keep it outside of the banking system, because they can very, very easily take it off you. And the gold and silver that is being declared in these countries, it's not their own, it's somebody else's. Now, if you and I were to do that, we'd land up in prison. So I'd advise you don't. My second story is a fun one, because there's a lot of people in the truth community turning against Donald Trump. And this shows me everything I need to see, because it shows what frequency they're on. Those people who believe in God and have their faith and trust in God know that Donald Trump came here as a disruptor. As he said it himself, I've come to drain the swamp. When you drain a swamp, you create a lot of mess. On the journey, he'll create a lot of mess. And this is all part of what God called him to do. So those turning against him, check your frequency before you open your mouth. Because when God calls somebody to do something, it might not be the way you wanted it. It might be a different way. We're all learning that the hard way. Stay close to God. You'll find the truth. Drew.
Next up, tensions continue between Hungary and the European Union as Prime Minister Viktor Orban maintains his opposition to several EU policies. Recent public demonstrations and political messaging have highlighted Hungary's stance on national sovereignty, with government officials pushing back against what they describe as external pressure from Brussels. The EU has previously raised concerns over governance and legal standards, leading to ongoing disputes over funding and policy direction.
Well, Hungary has been standing up against the EU for some time now. Viktor Orban is doing an amazing job, and we're starting to see more and more countries in Europe stand up against the EU. They're no longer getting it their own way.
Well, we thought we knew, but didn't really know, and now I'm supposed to know, but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies, Hollywood style, and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. Sunday, April 5th, 2026, boom, 1913 exposed. Trump strikes final blow to the IRS. Tariffs in, income tax out. Trump's signature on dollar signals return to pre-1913 prosperity and true sovereignty. Tuesday, April 7th, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, says that U.S. government raising taxes does not do anything to help the average American. He says raising taxes does nothing because Congress just launders the money to their friends, special interest groups, and 17,000 lobbying groups. I don't know anyone, and you guys in the room, you might be Democrats, Republicans who think that sending another $1 trillion to Washington, D.C. will actually improve anything. So when you say raise taxes, if you said raise taxes and directly give it to the people who need it, do it. That does not happen. It goes to all these interest groups, and they give it to their friends and all of that, which is why the people are considered a swamp. It's kind of a swamp, the 17,000 lobbying groups, but bank companies are guilty too. They're just fighting for their one self-interest as opposed to what's good for my country. Project Oda and martial law and Telegram. Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, former IRS agent. He spent 2 years of investigating claims of people who said there is no law to say we have to pay income taxes. He quit and has not paid in 25 years. We were lied to, misled, and robbed for decades. Just give it time to roll out. We are still in the Matrix. Cue the Storm Rider on Telegram.
An Oklahoma mother says she was attacked by an unknown creature on a full moon night after hearing what sounded like a wolf howl. According to her account, she had taken a late-night delivery job to a remote home. Because the location was hard to find, she arrived after dark. She said the area was quiet until she heard a distant howl, which made her uneasy. Still, she kept going, thinking about her 2 daughters and her husband, who is currently undergoing dialysis. As she walked toward the house, she noticed a figure in the dark. She said it was standing on 2 legs and making a low, growling sound. Moments later, the creature rushed at her. She turned and ran back toward her truck, but it caught up and knocked her to the ground. She quickly lost consciousness. The next morning, a nearby resident found her badly injured. She had bite wounds on her face, hands, and legs. She was rushed to the hospital for treatment. The local sheriff said that in 38 years of service, he has never seen an animal attack this severe. He also confirmed that they cannot yet identify the animal involved. Authorities are now working with a wildlife research lab to investigate the case. What do you think attacked her?
There's been a lot of reports of dogmen or werewolf sightings lately, so I decided to ask Commander Thor about these cryptids and where they came from. And the following information is from Commander Thor. The dogmen, he says, was a created asset by the White Hats, and there are only about 10 total worldwide. The dogman is a dire wolf hybrid given limited intelligence and ability to walk on 2 legs and follow instructions. So basically it's a type of super soldier. Fun fact, he said Soleimani was taken out by the dogman. They're not vicious, and they're located and kept secure on military bases. They are akin to soldiers. Now, what most people see on those trail camps or sometimes in forests are werewolves, which are realm jumpers. Sasquatch is considered a real realm jumper. They can come in and out of this realm at will through portals, and they know where the portals are. More and more of these and other monsters are being seen. Again, they are all realm jumpers and can be aggressive. He adds any type of realm jumper are considered monsters. Wars, and rumors of wars. Tuesday, April 7th. Fox News. A U.S. attack on Iran has just killed 50 senior Iranian leaders per Fox. This comes shortly after a post from President Trump tonight with a video of the strike.
Today, Yesterday, Trump put out the message apparently to end all messages, and all it was a threat to the Iranian regime, and it was used in the way the Iranian regime has always spoken to America. They say pretty much every day, death to America. But whoa, if you imply death to the Iranian regime, it's like pearl clutching all over the place. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. Remember, Trump used the same tactic when he was speaking to little rocket boy over in North Korea, and it did work. So, everyone needs to stay patient, and the Iranian regime really needs to know that after 47 years, our patience has ended.
To the warriors of epic fury, I say well done. You're the backbone of our country. Your skill, your bravery, and sheer guts and grit showed the world what America is all about. I'm proud of you. We're proud of you. President is proud of you. Job well done.